character, and conduct of those who are not to be your friends, and the dangerous effects they can have on you. Proverbs 13:20 says, he who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Be careful. Let me say that again. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffer harm. God is not talking about people in a bad way. If someone is acting silly, foolish, ignorant of the law, disrespectful, then no, don't hang around them. You need to choose people that are wise, because whoever you are around, that's who people are going to associate you with. So be careful who you hang around. Okay? Now, he who is wise, who does not want to be wise? Being wise means making wise choices, doing what's right, helping others, and just being wise, having wisdom to know the difference between good and bad, and knowing the difference between love and hate, and just knowing the difference between. Proverbs 22:24 says, do not make friends with a hot-tempered man. Do not associate with one easily angered. Let's do that again. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered, I'm going to say person. Do not associate with one who is easily angered, who gets angered so quickly, and the first thing they want to do is fight or talk about people and put you down and tear you down. Don't be around those type of people. I'm not just talking to young people, I'm talking to men and women. It takes so much to build a person up, but you can tear down a person's self-esteem with one or two words. No one wants to be torn down. So build people up. When you build people up, someone builds you up. Remember, the old world says, what goes around comes around. But the Bible says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So when you build up people, you want other people to build you up. And you don't have to be around those that tear you down, because life is too short to be torn down. Let God build you up and put the right people in your build up others. And remember, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey, folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning, and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Rome, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody. David West stars the stories of the Kaz Walker Show, getting things started off today. David's not going to be with us. Dustin's with us this morning. And I'm sorry, what was your name? I forgot your name.
I'm Angela Taylor.
Hi, Angela. Angela was here. You were here with us last week. We were talking about, we got some stuff coming up When is the thing we're doing in Powell?
This is Saturday.
Oh, it's this Saturday. Tell us a little bit about it. Yeah.
So it is a 10-year anniversary.
Yes.
It's a car show. So we're going to have a car show from 4 to 7.
Okay.
We have trophies, really nice trophies that we've ordered and everything. So we've also got prizes like you wouldn't believe. The lady who kind of helps me and works with me used to work for Knox County Sheriff's Department, and she was part of the DARE program, and she did the there's a DARE car show, I think, that they do, or a car show for Knox County. Anyway, her job was to get prizes from all the local people. So man, has she got us some prizes. We got $50 gift cards from Buddy's Barbecue. We've got a massage from Massage Envy. We've got over it's like 100 and something prizes to give away, door prizes. So just show up.
And that's Saturday.
That's Saturday, yeah. We are open all day. We're open from 10:30 till usually 6, but this will be a late night on Saturday. But you can come shopping in the daytime too and have a look around. We're having outdoor vendors that have like the pop-up tents, and tables. And so there's a whole line of them. We've got a food truck called El Sapito, which is a Mexican food truck. The guy used to work at a restaurant. He was a cook there on Western Avenue, and that's some good food.
That's awesome.
So it's going to be there, and we've got, of course, David and all the guys singing.
You'll be picking.
So, oh my gosh, yeah. So we're super excited to be a part of this, but we're going in with a couple of different businesses right there together. So if you know anything about downtown Powell, Tennessee, it's right down from Powell High School on Emory Road. So if you're going towards like Bojangles and stuff like that, you will see
you're going toward the interstate on Emory Road.
I-75 from Clinton Highway to I-75.
Yeah.
There is on the right, you'll see Bojangles, then Frightworks, and there's a place that's got like interior design. They're taking part with us. And then us, of course, the next building. And then we've got a lady who sells snow cones. So she's part of it too. So she's got a big snow cone business there.
Everybody loves snow cones.
I know. And it's good. It's like that shaved ice that you can get all the good flavors,
I love it.
So yeah, she's great. So all of us participating. But mostly, I think all the people will be there, and the cars, probably around 4 to 7. You can show up earlier with a car.
Sure.
I'm going to have a Knox County police officer there to direct traffic so that we can.
Idea.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid that it might get crazy. So I'm going to try to get people in their specified areas so that we can have a good show. So I'm super excited and can't wait.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
And it starts. You say you get open about 10:30?
We are open at 10:30. So if you want to come by early and shop, we've got the inside open. Some of the vendors will set up earlier, but I think after lunch, especially, is when it'll really start picking up.
And that's when does the car show officially start? 4 p.m.?
Yeah, and then it will start giving the prizes about 7.
Gotcha.
And we've got a couple of ladies who are interested in like a pinup contest. So I hope that we'll have a few of those show up. You never know.
Sounds fun.
We'll have to give prizes for that.
That sounds
That's
great.
around 6. So yeah, we're really excited.
Just do it. What is the why are you doing it? Just to raise attention to the businesses downtown Powell?
Absolutely, because so I started this business, Floyd's Antiques and Estate Sales.
Yes.
Back 10 years ago over on Amherst Road, more on the Carnes area. I was able to rent a big old warehouse over there and kind of started it that way. I would help families like grandmother going into assisted living.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do with all the stuff.
Exactly.
So I would help them sell the stuff and pay the family back. Well, then that turned into doing estate sales in their homes.
Yeah.
And then I kept doing both. And then like I said last week, I had a piece of artwork that I was afraid of. It was too expensive. I didn't want to sell it the wrong way. I wanted expert advice. So I went to an auctioneer who sold it, and he said, you need to be an auctioneer. And I thought, why in the world would I want to be an auctioneer? And he said, no kidding, you can really help people and make some decent money and sell a lot of things and be licensed for it. I was like, okay.
You kind of were doing it anyway, just without the auction.
I didn't realize, there's levels.
Sure.
So anyway, I went to auctioneer school and got my auctioneer license. You have to take a test through the state of Tennessee and become an auctioneer, official auctioneer. And so, you also have to be mentored. And then so when I was in auctioneer school, they were like, you need to sell not just the stuff in the house, you need to sell the house. Yeah. And I thought, why would I want to do that? And then they were like, big money. And I was like,
yeah,
oh,
property.
Okay. Property, real estate. So they said, why don't you go to real estate school? And I was like, I hadn't been to school in 30 years.
So you have to go to real estate school to be able to auction off properties, or is that?
That's actually separate, but since I have a real estate license, I can sell real estate as a realtor also. So I can sell auction property. I can sell, I can sell a house outright, just like everybody else. But when you auction property, I actually work with Bear Stevenson. He's the one who does all the. He's done it for 40 years or more.
For a while.
Long time.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll go in, and sometimes people need to move it quickly.
Yeah.
The family lives out of state.
Yeah.
And they don't want to deal with it. They just want it gone.
Yeah.
And so I'll come in and auction off all the contents, and then a lot of times Bear will come right behind me and
auction off the property.
The big properties, and he's done it forever. And so my license is hung with him. But I am selling houses. I actually sold one in an hour. 2 days ago.
That's exciting.
That's pretty cool.
I have a question about.
Is that a record?
Yeah, it is a record.
Have you ever had anything with got paranormal
Oh,
any stories like that?
Yes, actually, we've had a few people. Like I said, I'll get stuff from houses. Sometimes these houses sit. They've been an old farmhouse.
Yeah.
And they have sat for 20 years, nobody living in them. And these things are from the 1800s that are in them.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody knows what to do with them. So we would bring them in the store. And I remember having a guy, you can't tell if it's real or not, right. But he was walking through the store, and he stopped in front of a mirror, and he just looked at the mirror, and he goes, oh my gosh, I can see the farm. Well, he didn't know that came from a farm, first of all. So I was like, I was looking like that.
That's
okay.
a little odd.
And he goes, I see a farm in this. I see the landscape in the background of this mirror. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, this mirror is haunted. And I was like,
shut up.
I know. I was like, why are you saying that? He said, I just can sense things. I know. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can market it as haunted. And so,
does that raise or lower the value?
Well, you get a lot of people that come looking for that stuff.
Oh, yeah, they have all TV shows about it and everything.
They watch TV shows about
they make these big TV
ghost
shows.
hunters and all that stuff.
All that stuff.
So sometimes I don't want to know what comes in there because I'm worried some of that,
Yeah, you don't want any of that hanging around.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't want that.
You ever had any personal experiences with anything like that?
I have not. The only thing that because I try to shut that stuff down.
Right.
It comes across my mind. I'm like, nope, I'm not thinking about
way.
that. But there's an old guy who helps me sometimes, and he's probably, he's pushing 80.
Okay.
But he will go with us sometimes. He used to work early, like 5 years ago or so. We would go in these houses, and sadly, this is really sad, a lot of times people will die in the house.
Yeah.
So the family's done. They've got all their stuff out. They don't want what's left in the house.
Gotcha.
And they'll say, Grandma died, and then they'll tell me she died here, or she died in the bed, she died in the kitchen, or she died out on the porch, or whatever, or sitting on the couch. I had one lady died on the couch with her hand on the Bible verse.
Man.
Oh,
and
wow.
I know, they walked in, and they said her finger was pointing at a Bible verse. I was like,
you know what verse it was?
No, I don't. I'll have to ask him. But anyway, he would come in with me, to help clean up and get it ready.
Yeah.
And I would say, hey, Gary, do you know where so-and-so died in this house? And no kidding, I'm not kidding, he did this probably 4 different times. He would walk through the house, and he would look at whatever area it was, and he said, I believe they died right here. Man. He was right every time. Every
that's
time.
A little spooky.
I said, it is very spooky. I said, how did you do that, Gary? And he goes, I don't know. I just can do it. I was like, so his brother came one day. His brother was fixing a car of mine. I have a 57 Chevy.
Okay.
So he was fixing my car, and I took him to a house with Gary. And I said, walk through here, David. Show me. And so he was walking around, and Gary and I were not in the same room. Gary had already told me where he knew where that woman died.
Uh-huh.
And so David walked in. He goes, I believe she died right there. And I went, how do you guys know that? How?
That's weird.
And
that is weird.
He said, it's just a gift, I guess. And I was like, that's weird. I don't know if I want that gift or not. Knowing that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we have some spooky stuff, but nothing strange. The only thing that's strange that's happened to me, and it's probably the real deal, too, is I'll be focused on something and I'll hear strange noises sometimes in the store, or I look up and you just kind of see something looks like it's
Out of the
moving
corner
out
of
of the
your
corner of your
eye.
eye.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can ever say, thankfully, that's ever happened like that. So
What about stuff? Have you ever stumbled across something you didn't know what it was? It ended up to be something really valuable
That's
or
what I was
something
gonna-
really
actually,
interesting.
we had, and it kind of has to do with broadcasting. We had a house, a lady kind of was wanting to remodel it, keep the house, but sell all the stuff. Her dad used to work for, what is that TV company that's at the Greystone Lodge?
WATE.
There you go, WATE. He worked for them back in the 60s, 70s when they first took over that building. That building, and I didn't know all this, that building was built at the end of the Civil War. And it was built for one of the northern officers to kind of keep an eye on Knoxville.
Oh, wow.
And so that was designed really nice, really fancy. And everything in it was like expensive, especially for back then.
Wow.
It had to kind of be shipped in and stuff like that. Well, that from the time of 1860s until 1960s fell into disrepair. So they had rented out rooms to people that were like, it was like just beat up. They had really ruined a lot of the areas inside the building. And this, according to them, now I'm just telling what they've been telling me.
Sure.
But he salvaged a countertop, long countertop, and took it home to kind of fix it up.
Yeah.
And there was a window that was like a half moon window that was part of that whole house.
Okay.
Come to find out, that dry bar was actually part of the original thing. And they were like, yeah, back in the day they had, was it General Grant? He was President Grant then.
Okay.
President Grant would come and visit that house.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't know this was in a basement. And then the half moon window was like in the back of the garage, shoved behind some wood. And I started looking at the old pictures, and that window is above the entry door in that old Greystone house.
Oh, wow.
So it was amazing
That is
to
cool.
come across that stuff. So anyhow, but yeah, that kind of stuff. And you just never know. Like I said last week, people have traveled and they might have met a famous person and have a signature or this handwritten note from a president. Who knows? But it's really cool to kind of go through and see what they kept as important. And sometimes the family has no idea.
Do you ever find yourself wanting to keep the stuff instead of selling it?
Or offer the people money and be like, hey, I think I might need this.
I got it.
But yeah, I think the family gets to a point sometimes that, and people value, of course, different things.
Sure.
But some people will be like, we want to keep everything because Grandpa served in World War II.
Yeah.
He's got medals and honors and all this. And then other families are like, we don't know what to do with it. Maybe you can get somebody who's a collector. So it's sad that they do that, but it's good that they're using me as a conduit to find somebody rather than trash it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, find somebody that wants to keep it going.
Yeah, and honor of that, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's a big deal.
If folks out there wanted your service, how would they go about getting a hold of you?
They can actually they can call. We have a phone number there that you can call us on our website. It's www.floydsantiques.net, and then they can reach out that way. Or if they want more live interaction with us, I do a live show every Sunday night on Facebook. If they are on Facebook, it's Floyd's Antiques and Estate Sales. But the live sale is me selling collectibles, antiques, stuff like baseball cards, coins, knives, all that stuff I sell on Sunday nights. This Sunday night now, after this big shindig we're having, now I may not do it.
And you might be a little tired.
I might be wiped out. So, but yeah, I have to talk for 3 hours straight. So it's a lot of auctioning for 3 hours to try to, and I get bids off the internet. So if I have something they want, I take bids until somebody gives up, and then we sell it. They come pick it up the next week and pay.
That's cool.
So,
that's a fun job.
Oh, it is. I like looking for the stuff to sell. So
big event this Saturday. Be opening up about 10:30, but it'll be going on all day till 7 o'clock at night.
All day till 7. Yeah.
Food, vendors, car shows,
You gonna be singing
music.
at it?
Yes, he had me sing on. They found out I could sing.
Yeah.
Hey, put you to work Monday?
Yes. Yes.
How did Monday go, Dustin? How was?
Well, I actually wasn't there, but
Okay.
I seen
There's
her
a
on her
video.
Facebook. Yeah.
There's a
She
video.
sang and she did an excellent job.
Yeah, well, to be okay. So I've sang in church and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I've never sang with like a live band that knows how to really play. You know what I'm talking about? That really knows
Yeah.
the music.
Exactly.
So all I did was walk up on stage before I sang and start singing really low to them, and they're like, "Oh, that's the key of G. Oh, that's the key of C. Oh, there she's back to G now." And I was like, "This is super cool."
They knew exactly what
They
to
knew.
do.
Oh my gosh! So with professionals, oh wow! I was just like, it's amazing because I feel like I've sang with canned music before.
Sure.
You know, when you sing, you're like, it's got to, and if you mess up a beat, you're off for the rest of the song. So it was really good to have them. And when I got down off the stage, they were like, "Hey, you can sing," and I was like, "Thanks, that's good coming from you." I feel like that's a big compliment.
Hey, you be careful. You'll be David. David will have you
I know,
recruited on
see,
all of them.
Oh, yeah.
He told me, he said, "You need to learn 3."
He's already tried.
That's the magic. There you
And
go.
I was like,
Good
okay.
way to start the week, though.
Right, it was. So it was
Yeah.
really nice
Did they have a
get
good crowd?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's one guy that sings for him. Is he part of, he used to be in Dollywood or something?
I'm not sure.
He's
There's so
really,
many of them.
really good. Oh, my gosh. he's
CJ maybe? I don't know who.
But he sings like Willie Nelson. He does Willie Nelson.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I forget the
Is
His
that Dale T. Dale T.
his
Sharp?
whole-
Yeah, that's his
yeah,
Dale-
his
Dale
whole
T.
family showed up. So yeah, I mean,
That's awesome.
everybody was supporting everybody. It's really cool
It
to
is.
get to see how it's kind of like a family.
And
You
it's
know,
the
they
first,
all-
it's the second Monday of every month
right,
out there.
Second Monday.
correct,
Every month,
at
yep.
Wild Wings in Powell. Mhm.
Well, he'll have you back out there, I'm sure.
Thank you,
Oh,
Mike.
yeah.
Well, I hope the event turns out well.
I'm excited.
Weather-wise,
Yes.
we're kind of
We're
just
praying.
waiting to see.
We're praying.
You know,
We're praying.
I think
God's
we're
in
gonna
control
be
of
o-
that weather.
I think we're going to be okay.
I do too.
They say we might have some rolling in Saturday evening, but we'll see.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, this time of year, the word thunderstorm is in almost every, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
forecast. We might have one, we might not,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Well, I'm hoping it holds off, but we're going to have a good time. And we've got a lot of people. Like I said, over 10 years, I've met some really cool people. And a lot of these people, you'll walk in and find old cars and stuff. And I got a great story for that. So
Okay.
I grew up with brothers. And
Uh-huh.
they used to fix cars. They loved to, like, make a car out of nothing.
Sure.
Like, make it nice.
Yeah.
And so they would get boxes of pieces and make it into whatever. And so I grew up thinking, hey, that's cool. That's normal. That's what everybody does. They don't.
No.
So I would go into some of these houses and I would see, like, Grandpa would have bought a car in the 80s or
Mhm.
whatever, and it's set now in the basement with
For
a cover
40
on
years,
it
yeah.
for years. And then I'm thinking, man, wouldn't that be nice to, try to sell that or have that? So I've sold a few of them, but in one case, I was actually cleaning out a house, and there was a Thunderbird sitting there with, it was a 64 Thunderbird. It was a convertible. And I was walking by it every day. I was working, and there was boxes piled on it. I mean, it hadn't ran in years. And I started looking at it, and then I pulled the cover up, and I was like, oh, that's pretty nice. And so I'm thinking this is a way a boy thinks rather than a girl thinks like this. So I'm laying awake at night thinking what I could sell to buy that car. So I'm thinking, not a lot of women lay around and think, I want to buy an old car. It's in the basement.
And try
What
and-
can I sell?
Trying to
buy
figure
that?
out what to liquidate to come up with it.
Yeah, to get that car.
Did you get it?
I did. I got it. I got it.
Did you keep it or just fix it up and sell it?
No, I kept it for a long time. It had all the original mechanics. So you got to think, 1964.
Yeah.
When you do a cloth top car,
Yeah.
it has to have all of the joints and all the stuff to lay down and do it right.
Yeah.
It still had all the original bits and pieces, but
wow.
but it was fickle.
Yeah.
And we took it to the Cabin Fever car show in January.
Okay.
And the top was down. We drove it outside. Guess who didn't want to have the top back up on top of them? It stayed down. We had to drive it in the ice and snow home.
Oh, Lord.
man.
Oh, yeah.
That's
So
like
I got
worst-case
home,
scenario.
and I was so mad, I wanted to trade it. So I did, and I didn't. Now I regret it, but
Yeah.
it's okay. It worked out. That's fine. So
What'd you trade it for?
I traded it for it's a 1951 Fleetline, Chevy Fleetline, and it's kind of been put down a little, like on the ground. It's not slammed on the ground, but it's
Right.
black,
Lowered a little bit.
and it looks like a California special. It's got the curb feelers and all that. So
That's sharp.
Yeah, we
It's
had
a-
that huge ice storm
Mhm.
during the cabin fever because I
Yes.
didn't get to go this year. I usually take my boys and go.
Yes,
because of the weather,
Well,
we
had
didn't
some
go.
Cool cars show up there. So.
You were driving in that in your convertible. That's a sight to see.
It's awful. So, but then I ended up, when I started selling real estate, and here, this is another boy thought probably. First house I sold, I thought, I'm going to buy me a 57 Chevy. Forget saving the money, I'm
Exactly.
going to buy me a 57 Chevy. So I did. I went and drove all the way to Michigan almost. It was at the bottom of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
Because they had advertised it the wrong way. They didn't advertise it as a Bel Air. They put Bell, B-E-L, and
Oh.
Chevy.
Mhm.
And I was like, So I called the guy up, and this is a long way away.
Yeah.
Way up, Illinois. And he said, yeah, I got it. It's my mom's. It's set outside, and it's pink. And I was like, it's pink.
Even better.
Right. And he goes, yeah, we had a bad tornado come through, and it was under a shed, and the shed kind of went back on the tail fins of it and bent that chrome that's on the long tail fins.
Mhm.
I said, well, you think you would hold it for me if I drove up there? He said, yeah, send me $500, I'll hold it. So we did. We drove up there with a car trailer. I borrowed my brother's car trailer, and we drove up there, and actually we looked at it, and it started right up.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I know. And the lady had it in a parade like 2 years before. It did have transmission troubles.
Mhm.
So that guy that fixed it had to put on, it's a weird transmission. So he had to fix a piece of it, and it was hard to find because that's 57. Everything's original on it. It's had they tried to add an air conditioner in the 80s.
Yeah.
But it don't work. It's kind of goobered it up. But,
Yeah.
But everything else, I mean, it's got that big old massive transmission under the bottom that's like cast iron.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find pieces.
I
So
bet.
he found that piece and he fixed it. The guy that found the ghost or
Yeah.
whatever in the house. And so, but yeah, it works great. I keep it and put it in a lot of parades.
You'll be at the car show?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, good,
yeah.
good.
Then I drive a Scooby van, so I have a Scooby-Doo van, and it'll be there too.
Yeah, I've
I
seen
have
that
a-
around a bunch.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
and I'm thinking of, I've got a little camper. It's a 64 Shasta. I'm thinking of taking it down there, just kind of letting people
Yeah.
walk around in it and look
That's a
at
great
it. Somebody
idea.
try to buy it, I'm sure, but nope.
Sounds like there's going to be a lot going on, a lot of fun stuff for
Yeah,
people to
yeah.
see on
Oh,
top
yeah.
of the antiques and everything else
Oh
that is
yeah,
normally there.
we love to. Like I said, I feel like I'm the torchbearer from the people in their 80s to the people that's like his age.
Yeah.
Tell them, hey, this is what Grandpa or Grandma did, or where they went. This is why they valued this, and I'm passing it to you. This is a story
Yeah.
These
behind
people
it.
like you.
The
So,
story, the stories sell the piece.
I think
That's
so, and then younger generation appreciate it
Yeah.
Oh,
better
yeah.
because it's not just some
Yeah,
whatever,
It's
you
not
know.
just a piece
Right.
of merchandise.
Yeah,
It's
or
got
a mirror that's not haunted.
Do you have any antique cars, Ron?
Depends on your version of antique. That truck sitting out there is a 1999, so
Right. Yeah.
he
It
qualifies.
does qualify.
My vet is 2005.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
My I got a S500. It's a 2000, but
I think I've seen it. You drive it out here
I
sometime.
drive it.
Yeah, I've seen it
Yeah,
before, Ron.
but
That's sharp.
I bought all of them. Like I bought the truck in 2000. I bought the Mercedes in 2002. I bought the vet in 2014, 13, something. So I've had them all for a long time.
Yeah.
So they don't seem like to me that they're
Antiques.
antiques,
Oh, yeah.
but they are.
Yeah, you
They
get
actually
a
are.
tag. You can get a tag. What is
So-
it at 21? Are they 21 years? You can get a tag.
20.
I think so.
I thought either 21 or 25, one of the two. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I could on at least two of them
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Because you probably don't drive them much anyway.
It drops
Yeah.
insurance.
well, I drive them quite a bit. I don't drive the vet like I used to, but no, I drive them quite a bit.
With the antique tags, aren't you only allowed to put so many miles
That's
on them a year?
true. That's true.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
believe
you
so.
are. You're
yeah.
only supposed to drive them like weekends or special events and stuff like that. So, but it does drop your insurance a little bit because you're not on the road enough. But
Right.
My
Which is nice.
I drive them. You know what I mean? I just drive them like they're normal
Right.
till the wheels fall off of them. I don't like.
What kind of Corvette do you have?
I got a 2005. Z51?
Oh, nice.
2005
Cool.
Z51.
That's awesome.
You'll
Bro.
have to drive it to the car show.
Yeah,
don't you?
Yeah, you
you
should.
sometime. I've never
If you're not working-
put it in a car show.
Hey, we're going to accept all kinds of things.
That's cool.
Down there, we got people that love to drive their motorcycles too.
Oh yeah.
And it's a great parking lot. So when we first started doing this, I didn't realize gravel was very. They didn't want to come over there if they had a bike because you put it in the gravel, it goes
Tips
sideways.
over.
So,
Easy.
so yeah. But if you want to bring a bike or a newer car, I think that one of the last car shows we did, we had these cars show up that had like Hello Kitty on the side of them and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know what that category is, but we had all those. I mean, there was a line of them showed
Really?
up. Yeah, they were part of they want to be part of it too. So
We could
a
try
little
to
bit of everything.
get David and Mike and all them to bring all their cars.
Yeah,
They got them.
They do, don't
And
they, Ron?
Jeeps and all
That's for
kinds
sure.
of stuff. Yeah, people love all that. So
Oh yeah, I do too.
yeah.
I have an old Ford Ranger. It's a '94. It's kind of fixed up and
See, there
lowered.
you
Yeah,
go.
it's
You should
antique.
bring it.
If folks are if they want to bring their car, do they need to register it early, or what do they need? Just show
If
up?
you want to show up a little bit early, like I said, we'll be there with a table.
Mhm.
So we'll have everything. There's no fees to register, and you actually get entries into all these prizes just because you're entering a
Just
car.
because you're there.
Oh yeah. So when you show up, we'll have you a little thing you can put in the front of your car,
Okay.
where when we judge them, that you can be part of it. If you don't want to be, that's okay too.
Good.
But yeah, we'll give away prizes, probably closer to 7. But yeah, we'll have a lot of.
That's cool. No entry fee and
no
free
entry-
prizes. That
yeah,
sounds
I
good.
know.
That
and
sounds like a good time.
Well, we've had professionally done trophies with like the little pistons,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
they're really cool.
Those
So
are
That's
awesome.
neat.
yeah, so we'll have those
Should be a lot
to
of
give out.
fun.
Yeah,
It's all coming up Saturdays. Getting
Right.
started off about 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning when they open, but the car show gets going at 4. Food truck's going to be in there.
around 4, they'll be there around 4.
David and
then
them, when will they pick?
David will be from 4 to 7 also.
David's going to be there
off
4
and
to 7.
on, and
All
they
right.
The
will
whole
be.
car show.
Yep.
Nice.
So it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a big
really
crowd.
excited. So
Yeah.
I'm excited that you let us be on here too.
Well,
talking
yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
So
No, that's what we want
I
to see.
appreciate
Want
you.
to see you do well. Hopefully,
Yeah.
people turn out. Especially, it's rare that people get to take and enter their cars in a car
I
show
know,
for
without
free.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of me giving back to the community
Yeah.
because everybody's just been so good all these years. I've met a
Yeah.
lot of cool people, and I don't feel like I would have done that, if I didn't, get out there and meet people and do that. So it's me giving back, and like I said, I really appreciate this. I'm a sole proprietor, and that's mine, and I never imagined that this would take off like it did. So,
Well, I go back to this. It's the story. I think I mentioned when you were here last time. I
Right.
sold old watches, forever.
yeah.
And it's just an old watch until it has the story.
Right.
I've had some tremendous. I've got a watch right now that was the coach of what ended up becoming probably the Chargers, the NFL team of Chargers. But it was
Wow.
back when there were numerous leagues.
Right.
But I've got the watch that his team gave him, and it's
Oh,
inscribed to
wow.
him, and it's got so stuff like that.
That's
Impressive, Ron. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
we used to get that. It's just a watch, but then that story
Oh, yeah.
gives it a whole lot of,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean?
You put it
It's
in
Feels
the
like a
face.
Super Bowl ring to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I've got one. I back when we just had 3 TV stations, network TV.
Right.
When there was a big event, they would do what they call a press pool, and you would have one TV station, right? And they would shoot. But then they fed everybody else, so
Right.
everybody could have it.
Right.
And so, on the moon landing, they only let so many people into the control room, right?
Right.
So when they were landing on the moon, and the gentleman that was representing the Associated Press at that time, who fed newspapers and radio,
Mhm.
the gentleman that represented the Associated Press was there and saw it in real time, as NASA and all these other people were seeing it, and he was to report on it, as were everybody else. Well, everybody that was in the room in NASA headquarters that day, NASA gave a commemorative watch with the exact time down to the second
Oh wow.
that Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon. And it's gold, Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I was able to buy that from his family. Yeah,
That's amazing.
I've got that. So just those
Yeah.
old stories.
Mhm.
These are things that I kept over the years. I've sold. I've tons of stuff.
them,
Like,
yeah.
like I sold watches for Jerry Lewis. He,
That's awesome.
I sold his watches.
You did everything
for
wrong.
him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. But I mean, just the stories, like
Right.
here's the one he wore on this set. He did this,
Wow.
did that.
Right.
Yeah. And
That's amazing. So
That
do you have
is.
them in cases with stories with them?
no, all of those I've the two that I just told you about I've got, and I've got a, I guess it's for China. Is what it's supposed to be, but it's full of watches
Oh,
in my
yeah. Hey, that's
dining
okay.
room.
As long as you have it like labeled of
Yeah.
what that is. 'Cause
Yeah.
that, like I said, keep those stories. Keep
It's-
those stories alive because
it's,
that's cool.
Well, I even went and researched this gentleman because the watch that I was telling you about, the
Mhm.
NASA watch, when the guy first put it up on eBay, he put it up for an astronomical amount of money.
Oh,
I
I
think it
can
was like
imagine.
$50,000 or
Wow.
something. You know, it was crazy.
Yeah, steep.
And I watched it, put it on a watch list.
Mhm.
I kept it on a watch list for 5 years.
Oh.
He left that up.
And it never did sell.
No, so
Not for that
probably somewhere within the first year, I reached out and said, "Hey, I know a little bit about watches, and I know
Yeah.
there's not really a price, a value
Right.
on the event, but I know what the watch is worth. It's not worth anything like that, but if you're interested in ever
Let
coming
me
down,
know, yeah.
let me know." And he said no, that they were going to keep it. Okay, but they left it on, eBay, and then I saw him like cut the price over in half, and so I just sat there and I don't know. It was probably about 5 years or so. They contacted me
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
5
They were
years
like,
later.
okay,
and
we're
said,
gonna
"Do you
get that."
still want it?" And I said, "Yeah, but not as bad as I used to." And so I ended up getting it for like $1,000.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
man.
it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a killer deal.
And it's solid gold. So that's.
Wow, that's great.
And then I researched and went and found him. He also did. His name is Jim Westcott, I think I can't remember, but he also, for the Associated Press, at the end of 1969, they did a spoken album. The Associated Press did that he did,
Cool.
talking about all the events of 1969. You know what I mean? Like a recap of the news, the year in review. So I've got that from him as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the stories, just
The
that story,
stories, yeah.
should I ever go to sell that, that's what will sell that
Absolutely.
Hamilton wristwatch. Not that it's a
Absolutely.
watch.
Right,
But,
right. The background is, yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
It
Yeah,
is. It really is.
and
Did
if
you
I
have
had
more
kept,
questions?
just 10% of the stuff that I sold
Oh,
over the
yeah.
years, oh my Lord, I could be retired by now. Hindsight's always 20/20.
Right.
It is.
But you got some great stories.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tim and David both do.
I know.
Met a-
I
I just didn't
know.
listen
Met a
to
lot.
them all day.
Right.
Met a lot of people doing that. I'd travel. I'd do this show in the morning. I was running Ciderville for David, and I owned 13% of the Home Shopping Network, so I was out doing stuff
Oh
for
my
that.
goodness.
We'd fly
you wear
all
a
over
lot
the
of
place.
hats.
Yeah.
I did then. I don't now, but I got to fly all over the country. We'd fly in. I'd go to an estate sale, or
Yeah.
once people knew that we bought that stuff, they would contact me.
Oh, for sure.
My dad had this watch collection, and we'd go buy all of it. And man,
Wow.
the stories.
Oh,
just-
good.
Yeah, it
That's
was,
awesome.
and I'm as much a fan of them as I was a
Yeah.
distributor of them. The
Right.
stories that
And you
is.
learned so much about the watches too.
Oh yeah,
Just
the
doing
people.
that. Well, the people and the watches and what to look for.
It's
'Cause
like
I
I
think-
didn't realize there was such a thing as a doctor's watch when I first
I
started
didn't- I've
doing
never
this.
heard of that. What is that, Ron?
Usually it's a watch and it's got a sub-second hand. You know how you have a dial with the time, then you
Yeah.
have it. Well, they did that, or they're exaggerated second hands where they could watch and see the seconds while
Yeah.
they were taking your
Your
pulse
heart,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Makes
Back
sense.
before, we had all the machinery.
Right.
Wow.
They had watches that the seconds were exaggerated
Yeah.
so that you could.
You could see.
Yeah.
Ron, you pretty much laid the formula out for jewelry television, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
company that we had, that's what it is
Yep,
now. That's
exactly.
when
It's jewelry television now.
we took it public in.
It's impressive, ain't it?
That is.
Took it
wow.
public in 99, I think, 2009, and then we sold out to what is now.
Right.
That's what it is. Yeah, we built that, started that, ran
That's
it from.
cool.
Yeah, that's a big operation.
That is.
And we started in 90. We started it in 91 because
Mhm.
I bought this in 90, and then it was at the time it was a dentist in Norris, another gentleman up in Ohio, and a guy here in Knoxville named Johnny Perkle. And John, I had I owned WATO in Oak Ridge as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
And Johnny had, I don't know how he was involved in that, but he was involved in my purchase of that. That's how I got to know him. He was a radio guy here in Knoxville. And so he calls me one day, and again, I'm young, wet behind the ears, 1991. I was 26 years old. Owned this, and I was down there working. I was airing a junior varsity, I think, softball game. I don't remember, but it's the Oak Ridge Wildcats.
Yeah.
And pick up the phone, and it's Mr. Perkle, and he says, I need you over here at this TV station. I said, what TV station? I didn't even know.
Right.
He said, I own part of a home shopping network, and we need some help.
Wow.
And he said, I said, well, I can't do it. I'm running a ball game on the radio right now. He said, we'll pay you $100 an hour. And I said,
Okay.
I will be there in just a minute. Where is this place again? And so I got somebody to come in at the radio station, and I went over there,
Right.
and their host, their vendor that sold wristwatches was in North Carolina.
Mhm.
And there had been a winter storm, and they couldn't get here. So Mr. Perkle said, here is a box of broken pocket watches. He said, the audience will know what they are. You just put them up there.
Yeah.
And he said, show them. He said, there's paperwork, so you can
Right.
read the paperwork, but
Right.
don't try to act like you know about them,
Right.
because these people know what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are. So he said, just put them up there. And he said, if you can just salvage the night and maybe sell $3,000 worth, that'll be great.
Worth it, yeah.
Well, for one, I'm a ham. You know what I mean? And so there was a young guy. I think he was like 16 that they partnered me with. He sold sports memorabilia. Had his own brick and mortar store at 16.
16.
Mhm. Kevin Bird. And so they partnered me with him, and we got along together great. So it was like Laurel and Hardy on TV.
And they like watching you.
And we made the first night we made $16,000.
What?
And so they were like,
Oh,
Man.
wow.
so
That's a good night.
they literally
We're coming
gave
back.
they literally gave us a show called the Broken Watch Show, and that's what they give us, the broken
That's
parts.
Awesome.
And that's how it started.
I love it.
What-
That's
and that's
great.
how
I know, what a good story. I love it.
we've learned, so I learned about watches by doing that. And then they
Right.
came to me one day and they said, how would you like to be what they called a vendor,
Yeah.
where you bring the
Right.
stuff. And he said, you can sell your own stuff,
Mhm.
and then you split it with the company. And so
Right.
I started doing that, and that got going real well. And then I said, how about I buy some of this?
Yeah.
I wanted to buy all of it, but
Right.
I couldn't.
Right.
I couldn't find the funding. So
Right.
I bought one of the partners out and ended up I owned 13% of it. So
Man.
we ran it till
That's great.
about 2000, and then
Wow.
took it public and then
Yeah.
sold
I
it.
knew it. Yeah.
So
On to
there you go.
everything.
That's cool.
I-
I had no idea.
But the stories, everything we sold on VCC
Mhm.
was a onesie item. It was all antiques.
Mhm.
Like you were talking
You
about
can't- yeah,
signatures.
yeah.
Yeah. We did a deal with I might have said this, but like Burt Ward, the guy that played Robin. He came on studio with us, and we sold his outfit that he wore on the show,
Oh, wow.
Batman and Robin show.
Wow.
Did he go
he
for big
sold-
money?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
bet
It was
so,
like
yeah.
40, 50 grand. somebody
Man,
paid
that's
for it.
crazy.
Wow.
But stuff like that. So just the stories, and so
Love it.
everything we sold had a story,
Right.
had a history.
And people love to watch
And
you. I'm
it
sure.
was as much fun to hear about the
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
as it was, like I mentioned Jerry Lewis earlier. One of them was a watch that his photographer had given him, and then he had the picture that his photographer took of him wearing the watch the photographer gave him. So
Wow.
stuff like
That's
that
cool.
to do. So
Well, I
yeah,
think people get entertained when I think a lot of it's nostalgia.
it is.
So you have people that probably watch Batman,
Oh yeah.
and then they see the real.
There's
thing, and
Robin
they
on
can-
TV.
They can own it. They can own it.
Yes. But it's the
like,
same.
What?
It's the same thing with with any antique or whatever. If you've known the history, even if it's not
Right.
star-studded,
Right.
it's still
They
the
can own it, yeah,
stories.
right.
The stories are
Right.
what. That's why people listen to this.
Yeah.
It's called Stars and Stories of the Kaz Walker Show,
Yeah.
because of the stories and the history
That's
that David
awesome.
has,
Yeah.
in music, but
Right.
also
That's
just stuff
funny.
in general. So
Yeah. David
you should
never
have
runs out of it.
what's that?
Oh,
David
yeah.
never runs out of stories, man.
No,
He's got
and
them.
if I said one time he told the story, and I said, well, you didn't have that part in it last time. He goes, well, I'm just remembering more of it. That's what it is. It gets more and more exciting every time you tell it.
Add it to it. Add it
Yeah.
to it.
Exactly.
That is funny.
So-
I don't remember much about Kaz Walker. I remember so I was little. I remember going to a store. My dad was a scale man who had a scale business. And he
Okay.
took care of Kaz's scales, like produce scales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember walking in with my dad, and this is showing how small I was because the table was even with my eyes.
Oh, wow.
And I was looking at watermelons that looked like they stretched to the heavens. I mean, it was a mound.
Thumping good watermelons. Thumping good.
And so Dad loved to fish, and he back then, of course, no cell phones, and so he would be out on the lake fishing, and Kaz would call my mom and say, "Where is Fred? Get him off the lake right now. He's got to come fix this scale." We're backed up. We got to have it fixed. So anyway, but yeah, I wish I would have known more. But like I said, I was little, and you don't think to ask.
Right.
You don't know who
you don't know that. I was lucky because when I bought WYSH, I went out and met David, and we worked a deal out to where I broadcast the first hour of the barn dance on Saturday nights.
Okay.
So I would broadcast from 7 to 8.
Uh-huh.
And so I'd go out there. Back then it was bulky. I mean, we had it's called a Marty unit, but it's like the size of a suitcase and weighed like 70 pounds.
Uh-huh.
So you lug that around, you set up an antenna, and it beamed the signal from Siderville back to here, and then we would rebroadcast it.
Right.
So I did that for a long time, and then there wasn't a drummer. You need me to sign something? Nope, good. There was a night that there wasn't a drummer, and I was standing there, and I said, well, I'll play drums.
Uh-huh.
David said, well, why didn't you tell me you played drums? I said, well, you didn't ask. You know? So I played that night, and then he hired me to do it.
Right.
And then he asked me to take it over and run it, so I took it over and ran it. And Mr. Walker was there every Saturday.
Oh,
so
cool.
yeah, I got
to meet him.
Oh, I got to meet him,
That's
and then he
awesome.
would come in. David would bring him about, I don't know, 3-4 times a year.
Right.
He'd bring him here into the studio, and we'd promote the barn dance that he was going to be there.
Super cool.
But he would,
Wow.
but he would tell stories, and I've got him on tape, and he had no filter. He had zero filter. I mean, zero filter. No. He was talking about, and again, I've got this on tape. He was talking about hunting, and this man had stole his dog. And he was tracking him down. He was telling it, sitting right where you're sitting. He was telling the story about finding the guy and jerking him off the horse. He said, I pulled him off that GD horse. I mean, and I didn't have no 7-second delay.
Right.
And I said, well, what'd you do, Mr. Walker? He said, I slit his throat.
Oh, no.
That's what.
No.
I was like, what?
No. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
That's bad.
But yeah, he came on. He told all kinds of stories. So I had the honor to get to know him and work with him for. I think I worked with him every Saturday for 6 years till he passed away.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
It was. Oh yeah, and we again I didn't get to hear near the stories or tales that David got to hear.
But you have them.
But
I have them now.
I've got.
That's cool.
I've got them, and I've even got them preserved on tape for the times he was here.
That's awesome.
They came over, and David would bring Ellie White and Lola Jean Dillon. They'd come over, and before I built Merle, that was just an open studio. We had a piano in there and some other stuff. So he'd bring them, Mr. Walker, over, and they'd come over on a Saturday morning and put on a show on the radio for us. So
awesome.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So, but getting about stories.
I hate to cut you short, but I'm going to have to run. Yeah, I got to get with it selling this house. So
you got a showing? Got a showing or selling?
I mean, I got to get the paperwork turned into the right people.
The 1 hour house, right?
The 1 hour house.
Okay.
That's right.
We'll wrap it up and call it a day, Dustin.
Cool.
David, what's David's? What's his deal?
Oh, I don't know. He just has to go to the doctor's appointment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't tell me. I don't think anything's wrong or nothing.
He just had to the doctor's appointment.
Yes.
All right, good enough.
And then Anthony, of course, is taking over. It's at Siderville under new management. He has plenty of drums. And then Doug, sound man, not too big or too small. He can do any of them. And then don't forget about the car show Saturday, 4 to 7. Floyd's opens at 10:30.
Yep,
10:30. So it'll pretty much be going all day, and we look forward to seeing everybody there.
That works. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. We'll see you next time.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
As we get set, the green flag is out.
Returns to North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Corey Heim hanging tough. Now he slides up the racetrack.
For short track racing on a North Carolina Saturday afternoon.
Will it be Heim time again as he goes to the bottom of the racetrack? He stretches it out now. Here comes Corey Heim.
time?
It's the Window World 250.
Saturday, May 17th, 1 p.m. right here on WYSH. Are you a plumbing, HVAC, or mechanical contractor tired of wasting time and money on hiring unskilled employees? Local 102 can help. Our skilled workers are on demand and ready to tackle any job, big or small. Our state-of-the-art training facility ensures our members are up to date on the latest skills and technology, giving you the competitive edge. Partner with Local 102 and experience the difference skilled labor can make for your business. Call us today, 865-523-7413, 523-7413, and learn how we can help your business thrive. Local 102, your partner in success.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12, or